ways of thinking. The euro currency versus the US dollar and the US versus the Eurozone. President Biden announced a few days ago huge subsidies of $370 billion as well as tax breaks, which will be provided from January 1st, 2023 to American industrialists to accelerate the energy transition, but also to those European businessmen who leave the old continent of Europe and invest in America. So he's enticing the European companies to come to America to get part of these subsidies. In this announcement, President Macron of France, who visited America in these past few days, protested to President Biden that America, with these measures, is changing the terms of international trade, but also the terms of making international investments. Relentless, President Biden urged him to do it in the Eurozone too. I don't know what Macron, by far Europe's most committed neoliberal, made of this exhortation, but as such he could not help but ask him, where are you going to find this amount of shit of dollars, he said. Here I honestly don't know what Biden told him, but I'll tell you where he's going to find all that money. Where will America find so much money? Of course, he'll not collect them from Americans through taxes, and neither will he borrow them from the markets and banks. He'll simply issue all these dollars, print them, type them into the computer, then he will distribute them as the Congress and Senate and government decide. Therefore, the Americans will finance this program to the amount of $370,000 billion by issuing money, and therefore it will be a national saving for the American people. In the meantime, Paris and Berlin agree anyway to promote measures to improve their competitiveness, as well as that of the Eurozone. But a massive plan for European subsidies on par with what the White House has planned is seen as too expensive for Europe. Really, why can't the Eurozone make the investments that the Americans will make, and it considers that the financing of such a program will have huge costs? Because the financing of such a program would require recourse to common European borrowing. But as soon as the Germans hear common borrowing, they get confused. In other words, the Eurozone will have to turn to the bankers, capitalists, to borrow these funds. At home, it's understood that such a borrowing for a huge expenditure for the people of the Eurozone constitutes a heavy long-term debt, in contrast to America, where such an expenditure constitutes national savings. Is it simple? The issuance of the euro, by design, requires a huge part of the GDP of the Eurozone to be paid in the form of interest to the banks and capital holders. How? But through the taxation of citizens, of course. That is, the real economy funds the financial sector to issue a currency that costs nothing to produce. What kind of spiritual laziness to the point of stupidity has struck the European citizens, and they have accepted this currency that was made to make the drones rich? Only God can explain it. Or baby Jesus who wants you to perish? And now the apotheosis of folly in the chain of casualty. Europhiles claim that America is set up for us again because it hates Europe and other such nonsense. It does not occur to them that we set it up for ourselves from the great stupidity that possesses us, and we believe the miserable establishment class of the Eurozone and its politicians. This is by Spiros Delias. I've translated this for you from a Greek article. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.